What's up, YouTube? SnatchPato here, solving some tactics on chess.com. We're doing the Blitz tactics problem set today, so let's get into it and solve some tactics quickly. I'm expecting rook takes bishop. Okay, rook takes h7. First, definitely the first thing to look at, because check. And king takes h7. And then what? And then what? I like the idea of also queen e5 check. My idea is queen e5 check, and after bishop g7, okay, queen e5 check if rook h7, if rook g7. Yeah, okay. Queen e5 if bishop g7 first of all. I think I see it. I think queen e5, bishop g7. I can go queen b8 check. And the king can't escape, so the bishop has to block, and then queen takes f8 is checkmate in 2. And now queen e5 check, and if rook blocks, then I have rook takes h7. The rook can't take because it's pinned to the king. And after king takes h7, I've got queen h5 checkmate, because the king can't go to g8, can't go to h8, and it can't come down to either of these squares, and the bishop can't block because the rook's in the way. So I think that is the tactic, and it is making me find the hard move, or the harder move, I suppose. But we got that one, so I'm quite happy with that. I think I might start doing a thing where I go back and I did explain my thought process while doing the tactic, but how did I start looking for these moves? Well, as you remember, I looked for rook takes h7 first because that's a check. I realized that didn't go anywhere very quickly. So then I looked at queen e5 check, which is the only other check that makes sense, right? Queen f6 doesn't make any sense. Rook just takes, and I'm dead. So queen e5 check, and then I looked at what would happen. There's only two possible responses, bishop g7 and rook g7, so that's a good start. Forcing moves with very limited responses for your opponent are good ways to go in tactics. So after queen e5, I looked at bishop g7 first, and I saw that now that the bishop is on g7, the back rank is vulnerable. So I can go queen to b8 check. The queen can't block on c8 because I just take it, and the queen can't block on e8 because I will just take it as well. Probably with my queen, because it's faster. Or maybe, it doesn't matter, that's not the point. Point is, after queen e5, bishop g7, and queen b8, I'm mating in a couple of moves. So I was like, great, what's the other response that black has? Queen e5, rook g7. And I didn't see anything at first, but then this threat came back to my mind. I mean, this is always going to be a tough move for a relative novice or new beginner player to find. So if you're one of those people, don't feel bad if you can't find this kind of move. It's super counterintuitive. Rook takes h7. The way it worked for me was that rook takes h7. The rook can't capture because it's in a pin. So after queen e5 and the rook went back to g7, I noticed, okay, first of all, the king has no squares to move to because it's blocked by the rook. The second thing I noticed was that the rook was in a pin. So I thought, how can I exploit that pin? And rook takes h7 is just that. After the king takes h7, then I think it's pretty trivial to find rook takes queen h5. But, I mean, maybe not. But that's my thought process. So let's move on to the next problem before I talk for too long. We're black, but it's white to move, so we're going to wait for that move. Okay, what are some loose pieces in this position? This knight is relatively loose. I'm wondering what else can be done here. Oh, I think I see it immediately. Yeah, I realized that if I could play h4, that would be mate, because this bishop here covers these two light squares. And I could have solved this already, by the way, but I'd rather give my thought process and maybe not gain as many rating points as possible. I think that's more instructive for all of us. And my rook covers, so as I was saying, my bishop covers these light squares, and my rook covers this f4 square. So if I could push the pawn, that would be checkmate. So I immediately thought of g5 and threatening h4, but of course after g5, pawn takes h5, so that didn't work in my mind. Though after g5, he can't actually play that because I have knight f5 checkmate. So after g5, I suppose he would play something like h4 himself. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So g5 is not really working to get h4 in. So I was wondering how else I could get h4 in. And I realized that if this pawn wasn't here, so if I played f5 and he took, I would be able to play h4, but he's not forced to take. He can always, he can't really push back because I'd still get the mate in because my rook would cover it. Right, so if this g4 pawn's not here, my pawn will play h4. Maybe I should explain this after making the move. Anyway, the move is knight f5, because if the pawn takes, I mate him on h4, and if the pawn doesn't take, he's checkmated right now on the spot. So yeah, so maybe I should have explained this afterwards, because I would have gained a lot of points solving it immediately. But yeah, next time maybe I'll just solve it straight away and then talk about my thought process. My whole point was, after, all I want to do is remove this pawn. If this pawn's off the board, then I can just play h4 and mate him. And the way I found h4 in the first place was looking at checks. I looked at knight f5 check. Didn't really look at this. I just thought, oh, I can't really play knight f5. He'll just take me. I came back to it, but not straight up first. So I was like, knight f5 check. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Rook can't go check there. Can't go take here because he'll just take back. So I was like, well, I guess h4. Whoops. I was like, I guess h4 is an idea, but I had to get rid of that pawn first, because if I didn't, then he would be able to. I wouldn't be able to play h4. The point of this, not only because this would be mate if he didn't take, but it's because my rook now defends the h4 square. So that's checkmate. Anyway, they're my thought processes for that one. I'm not sure. Give me feedback. I'm not finished with the video yet, guys, but give me some feedback in the comments section below if you are finding this extra analysis helpful. If you are, I'll do more of it. If not, just give me feedback below, because I'm always trying to improve these videos. So if you would like this extra analysis that I'm doing to make it really simple and really straightforward, then feel free to give me some feedback. And if you don't like it and you think it's too straightforward and you just want to see my thought process as I solve, give me some feedback for that as well. That would be great. My first thought was queen g6 check, but I think just rook blocks, and I can't see a continuation for me. Also, rook g6, rook blocks, or even bishop goes back. Okay, rook g6, the rook has to block, actually. The point is, this bishop is actually quite pinned right now, right? I'm attacking the queen through the bishop. So after rook g6 check, if king h7, then I've got probably just rook rook back to d6 check with my queen. And then I guess he's got queen f5. Huh. Rook here, probably rook here check. And I might be mating. I'm not sure. But the point is, I don't think I've got anything after rook g6. I don't think. Maybe if rook g7, I take, king takes, and then bishop check. You know, I can probably just play bishop here now. No, I can't play bishop here now to e5 because queen takes rook, and I lose exchange. But if I play rook g6 check first, I think I have to be forcing, because if I play something slow like rook e4, then bishop just takes on f2 check, and after I take back, he takes my queen. So that's his threat. So I need to be forcing. My point being rook g6, yeah, rook g6 check, and wherever the king goes. Okay, if the king goes to h7, I probably get rook d6, threatening to win the queen, so the queen comes to f5. I take with check, rook takes, and then my rook on d6 takes this bishop, and I'll be up a bishop. So that's my point if king h7. If the king, however, goes to this dark square on h8, I can then play bishop e5 check, and I've got no hanging rook on e6 anymore, because the rook is gone. And the point is, if bishop takes, I take the queen. So after rook g6, and if rook g7 to defend, I take the rook with check. Bishop can't take because I take the queen. Rook takes g7, king takes g7, and then bishop e5 check. Picks up this bishop here. And that's all forcing, so I think this is the move, and I think this is the secondary move. Followed by this. Okay, so queen d7 was a good move, suggested by the computer, but not the best. Perhaps the best is rook takes h6 first. It's winning one extra pawn. If he blocks, I just take with my queen and its mate. And if the king goes back to g8, then I just take the queen then. Though I'm wondering. Yeah, I guess check and king g8. Check. If check and king g7, I've got queen h6. So I think it takes here. Yeah. Okay. And then take the queen. So, okay, slight little bit of move order. It doesn't really matter, that last move, that rook takes h6. There's not a huge... I mean, it does make it a bit easier for me, that pawn being gone. It is quite a bit stronger, but it's definitely not necessary to win a game, you know. Rook takes h6, or the second best move being queen takes d7, which is the whole point. Now, let me go back to the start of this, because it's an important point. After bishop takes here, I noticed that this bishop was pinned, and I couldn't do anything slow. Like if rook d1, he's just got bishop takes f2, and after bishop takes f2, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and then rook takes bishop. And yeah, then there's stuff like, I don't know, if I go grab a pawn, he's got rook a2, maybe followed by rook f1, or something like that, you know. It doesn't look great for me, but there might be even something better for white here. It might even be... Yeah, I guess it's that. Rook d1 isn't even suggested by the computer. So it can't be good at all. Of course. If rook d1, just queen takes... Whoops, get rid of all this nonsense. Just queen takes rook. That was that was the point of the other move. I see. Yeah, and that's the same reason why I can't play bishop here right now, because queen takes rook. Right. Yep. And so that's why I can't play bishop here or rook to d1. And if I play something like rook e4, now it's too slow. This is my point. Now bishop check works because we win the queen as black. So that's why it had to be something forcing if I want to play eventually to exploit this pin on this bishop. So rook g6 check. If king h7, the variation I was looking at, I mean, I could do something like this, like rook takes g5 check. But after rook g5 check, I think rook can just come to f5. And I don't see exactly what I'm getting. I mean, it might be. Anyway, it gets complicated, but my simple variation was going to be check. The queen's hanging, so the queen has to save herself with check, and then I'd take you with check, rook takes, and then take the bishop. That was the line I was looking at anyway, which I think works pretty darn well. So that's why black couldn't play king h7. If the rook blocked, it would have been the exact same variation as before. Notice the bishop can't capture in any of these lines because the queen hangs. So if the king takes the rook, then I have bishop here, check. And if the king moves, I just take the bishop. And if the bishop's captured, I take the queen. So right, bishop takes, I take the queen. And if the king moves to g8 or something like that, I'm probably mate M, actually. Queen g6 is mate. Say king f7. If nothing better, I simply take the bishop. If nothing better, there is probably better, but I'm just going to take the bishop in most of these lines, and that's the point of bishop e5, and that's why rook g6 had to be played first, so that after this check, there's no queen taking on e6, and the best move that my opponent, that the computer, I guess, could find is bishop takes e5, and then rook takes h6, throwing in a little zwish and zig before taking the queen. Alright, and that's the end of that video. Again, guys, I tried out a technique of explaining my moves a little bit deeper and explaining my thought process behind it at a little bit of a simpler level. I'm hoping that the beginners of you out there who do enjoy my videos, who do watch them, gain a little bit more out of them because of that. If you don't like it and you think it's a bit of a waste of time, it makes the videos too long, that sort of thing, I do want to hear that feedback as well, so make sure you let me know. Any and all feedback's really valued by me, guys, so please don't hesitate to give me some good feedback in the comment section below. With that said, if you like the video, make sure you do like the video, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!